please, pretty please, send me one of your videos?
I don't know how to even say the words.
Well, give me a roundabout what you're thinking.
That somebody in my family's dead.
This is the story of Grant Amato. He became obsessed with a Bulgarian webcam model named Sylvie. His addiction spiraled out of control, and he ended up stealing large amounts of money from his own family just to keep chatting with her. His family noticed something was wrong and tried to help. Eventually, they gave him a choice: stop talking to Sylvie or move out. Grant didn't take it well. He was forced to leave the house, and the very next day, his brother didn't show up for work. Concerned, police went to the house, and what they found was horrifying. All three of Grant's family members had been murdered. Grant claimed he had nothing to do with it, but investigators didn't buy it. He was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. It's a chilling reminder of how dangerous unchecked obsession and addiction can become. Now let's jump into Grant's police interrogation. It started off like most do, calm and by the book. The detectives asked him to state his name and share some basic information. Nothing unusual. They asked about his education, and Grant told them he had a bachelor's degree in nursing. He also mentioned that he had a job interview the day before, which caught the detectives' interest. They pressed for more details.
So you got a water, do you Coke or anything?
No. I'll hold off on that.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Eva.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm here.
Hey, we really appreciate you coming up here with us. And
Sure.
any time during this you need to stop and go to the bathroom, want a drink,
Snacks.
thing, just let me know, and we'll be happy to get you in. My name is Danny Anderson, and I'm a deputy in Seminole County Sheriff's Office, as is Eva. So we just want to talk to you a little bit, and we'll get this in and out, be on our way.
Okay.
Full name?
My full name is Grant Amato.
How do you spell Tiernan?
Tiernan.
I like that.
Your date of birth?
May 20th, 1989.
Okay. Home address?
Home address is 2112 Salton Circle, Chuliota, Florida, 32766.
Phone number?
For the home or for...
The home.
Well, I mean, my original cell phone number was 407-687-0738. Home phone number was 407-971-1422. My cell phone currently doesn't have any service with it, so, I mean, it's just...
So you don't have you haven't moved to another number, just that one's no longer good?
My dad had told me that when he disconnected my service that he also changed my phone number, so I don't know what the new phone number is,
Gotcha.
But, I mean, it's probably, like, you can probably still see it.
Do you have the phone, or...?
It was in my duffel bag.
Oh, gotcha.
Back there, yeah.
Gotcha. Email. Do you have an email or anything if we need to...
My main email is gamato, all one word, all lowercase, gamato light, like a light bulb, @gmail.com.
Education.
I have a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing from UCF back in 2011. And that's my highest level.
Okay. What is there any special nursing degree, what you do, or?
I mean, I have, like, other certifications.
Uh-huh.
I mean, with that, like, I primarily worked in the hospital for, I think, 5 or 6 years. And then I was pursuing a Master's of Science in Nurse Anesthesia.
Mm-hmm.
That was back in 2015, I believe.
Okay.
But then I didn't complete that, and then I just went back to nursing. And then when this whole, like, wrongful accusation of the grand theft charge that I told you about in the car, when that happened, I stopped working at the hospital, and then that took, like...
I don't think we talked about that in the car.
Well, I was accused of grand theft of the third degree back in June of 2018. That, like, went on for 6 months, and during that time I obviously wasn't allowed to work because of it. And then...
Where was that at?
Florida Hospital South, the main one down in Orlando.
Down on Orange Avenue?
Rollins, that's what it is,
Okay.
Rollins.
Okay.
So when that happened, obviously I was dismissed from that job, and then I couldn't get another job because now you have an outstanding felony charge on your name.
Sure.
So then I got the attorney. It all went through, and then finally in December, they posted on the Orange County Clerk Courts or whatever website where your file is that there was no evidence ever presented. All the charges were dropped, and now I'm just in the process of expunging that from my records.
Right.
But because I can't keep just not working forever.
Sure.
And that was kind of a topic around the house was I need to get started here.
Right. Who was your attorney for that?
Lauren Lycum, Chapman Law Group.
Okay.
I think that one's based in Sarasota.
Okay.
So then.
But they didn't really have to do anything.
No,
the state attorney didn't file any charges. So.
No, state attorney didn't file anything, and then she just presented that she was going to be my attorney, and that was the most work she ever had to do.
Okay.
And then I had been applying for jobs for the last couple weeks. I'd gotten like 3 or 4 callbacks. And then I went on a job interview yesterday for a home infusion nurse job.
Where was that at?
That was with Accredo.
Is that like a staffing, or is that like a headhunter kind of job?
No. That's like their actual company. It's God, why can I not remember the first name? It's something Scripts, Team Scripts.
Where's the location?
It's out close to the airport. It's on Lee Vista.
What time was your interview yesterday?
It was scheduled for 10. I got there at around 9 in the morning. And then I think we actually had the interview at about 9:45.
How'd that go?
I mean, it was all good. They didn't have anything. They said that they'd probably be getting back to me by Tuesday or Thursday this coming week.
Get you back to work?
Yeah, because, I mean, it's a crappy world when, you don't have any money, you can't do anything, so.
Financially, how's the nursing what you did? I'm sorry, I just don't know that much, or she knows a lot more about nursing. The nursing, how does it pay? How does it pay?
I mean, if you work your standard 12 hours a week, you get anywhere between, I'd say, $45,000 and $55,000 a year. So, I mean, it's not bad. Obviously, if you work overtime, like some of the nurses who have also been nurses for a long time, I mean, they can make 6 figures if you work 5.
What was your best year?
I think my best year, I made like $55,000.
55.
Because I rarely worked overtime.
Right.
When I was just, because I had the whole plan of going to graduate school, so I was just kind of using it as a stepping stone for that time.
Just to pay the bills to get you where you got to. Gotcha. And what you're going for, what does that pay? Nurse
anesthesia pays, I mean, base like about 150 up to 175. You work a lot of overtime, you can cusp 200, but then
So what would you actually be doing?
If I could do anything.
No, I mean with that job, that nursing anesthesia.
Right.
What would you do?
Oh yeah, nurse anesthetist.
Thank you.
You're in the OR. You put the patients to sleep, keep them alive during surgery, wake them up, send them off to the.
I thought that was a doctor that did that.
In Florida, the anesthesiologist, which is the MD equivalent, if you will, they have to come in at the start of surgery. They have to induce the patient to put them to sleep, and then as long as they're comfortable with you, the surgeon's comfortable with you, then the anesthesiologist leaves, and then you take care of the whole entire surgical
Just
case.
oversee it.
Right.
Okay.
And then again, by the time you're a CRNA, you're obviously competent enough to wake the patient up. So when I was a student, though, the anesthesiologist would sometimes come back in for wake up to make sure everything's okay, and then you take them to the PACU or the post-op area, drop them off, you give the nurse report, and then you go on to your next case.
Okay. High school, where'd you go?
I went to Timber Creek High School on Avalon.
Okay. And graduated what year?
2007.
Okay. And then did you go right to UCF and start your degree program?
Summer, yeah.
Okay.
This interview took place just one day after the murders. At first, the detectives asked Grant casual, harmless questions, things like his daily life, past relationships, and hobbies. The goal was to make him feel comfortable so they could later surprise him with the tough questions. Grant opened up easily. He talked about watching anime and playing video games with his brother. He spoke fondly of him, which made it hard to believe he could be responsible for his death. As the conversation went on, it became clear that Grant was really into computers and gaming. He talked about trying to build a career on Twitch and eventually brought up the trouble he'd gotten into for stealing. Then the topic shifted, and things took a darker turn. Grant began talking about his online girlfriend, the woman he had become dangerously obsessed with.
Just like all the video stuff, you have to tell us.
A cam model, it's like it's like a virtual girlfriend, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Like that type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the money went to her.
Okay. Where's she at?
She lives in Bulgaria.
Where?
Bulgaria.
Where's that?
Over in Europe. It's like
Okay.
outside of Germany.
Okay.
Something like that.
You ever been there?
No.
Okay.
It wasn't that serious.
So
Okay.
what would you give her money for?
Just for like the time online with her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was just like that type of thing.
And what did she charge? By the minute? By the hour?
Minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much is it per minute?
Oh God, I think it was like 90 tokens a minute, and it's like the conversion rate for all of that is like $600 for like 5,000 or something tokens or something like that. So, and then it was 4 hours a night. So I mean that's basically just where all the costs went to, was you pay real money for the tokens, then you use the company's digital currency for that.
So you do that, and when did you meet her?
I met her at the beginning of July. Yeah, at the very beginning of July.
Okay, and still talking to her?
Still, yeah. I mean, more just on like Twitter, like
Okay.
just through direct messaging. Again, cell phone service doesn't work, so it's like I can't use the chatting like that.
How much do you think you spent on this? Because it seems kind of pricey.
Yeah.
90 tokens and $5,000 for how many tokens?
No, it's $600 for 5,000.
For 5,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So how much do you think you spent on this?
Probably close to like $200,000, I'd say.
$200,000?
Yeah.
And where'd the money come from?
Money came from me, my brother, and then my dad.
Did they know where the money was going to?
They didn't know that it was going to a cam model.
What did you
I
tell
was
them?
saying that it was going towards my Twitch streaming, like
Beginning stuff.
like advertising, like putting my name out there and that type of thing.
But based on what you're telling me, only so many people make so much money. So I think just a few
Just a
in the country
handful.
make a bunch of money.
Right.
So that was like the ultimate goal, is to get to that.
I was
level.
hoping that the stars would align, and then I would be like one of those people, because I was good at the games, and I'm a funny, pleasant person on the camera and that type of thing. So, yeah, I mean so I guess to bring it all back with why I was brought to Cornerstone, it was a mix of all of those things. It's like he felt like, he felt like
You need to be grounded.
yeah. And so then I was there, I spoke to the therapist and psychiatrist and all that stuff. I didn't need any medications for anything. They had analyzed it as, this is an isolated event. You've been out of work, you have this PTSD from the whole getting arrested thing, and I mean, the last thing on my record was, I think, a speeding ticket back when I was at UCF. And then, just having all of that stuff going on, but then they had signed me up, I think, to be there for 60 days, but then I was only there until January 4th. So
Who paid for that?
my brother, Cody.
What was the cost of that? Do you know?
$15,000. It was $15,000, and then I think when I had gotten back, we were going through the process of calling them and seeing if we could get any type of refund. And I think they said that he was going to get refunded $3,000 from his $15,000.
Sure.
But I don't.
There so long.
Right. But I don't know if that transaction had ever gone through yet.
So their final diagnosis of you was what?
That I was fine. That
Didn't need to be there.
yeah. That I was fine. I told them all about my living situation and how it had been stressful, and then it got better, and then now it's just stressful again. But they had all just said that it was just this isolated
Just
event.
situational PTSD from
Right. Yeah.
the last 6 months.
once you can get this legal thing taken care of, which I don't know if I mentioned, but when we looked online and we saw that all the charges had been dropped, that was on November 30th or 31st, the day before we were going to Japan. So, while that was good and everything, I still knew that it was still going to be on your record until you get it expunged. So, I was still thinking, okay, at least now I can maybe start applying when we get back from Japan. Sure. But yeah. So I mean,
After you get back, You got back
on the 15th of December.
of December. You got back. I thought you said you went on the 22nd of
Right.
December.
Yeah, that's when I went to. Yeah, it was after Japan.
Okay.
And it was because when I had gotten back, my mom and dad were, dealing with a lot of the financial stuff while we were up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got back, that's where my dad started to get really kind of overbearing. And I mean, rightfully so. I know what I did. But it's like with him, it was every single day, hours a day, hours a day. He'd come home from work, and then he would just talk to me just about the same exact thing over and over and over and over and over again. And
Did it get heated?
he would get heated, but
How much did you get heated?
no, I mean, I was, I was always the person in the family where, like, my brother Cody would interrupt my dad when he was talking. My mom would interject and say, you can't be saying that or whatever. But for me, I would just sit there and I would just let my dad talk so that he could say everything that he wanted to say. And then if I saw that it was something that he wanted me to respond to, then I'd respond. But I would never be heated to him,
Sure.
especially if I felt like I was in the wrong.
Right. To all this, you think you were in the wrong?
I mean, yeah.
To some extent?
To some extent, spending that amount of money, it's idiotic to do that, especially when you're not making
So
any money.
$200,000.
Right.
At this point, Amato begins to explain how he met Sylvie, the woman who would ultimately ruin his life. She was a cam model on a website, and spending time with her didn't come cheap. Amato quickly became hooked. He ended up spending nearly $200,000 of his family's money just to keep talking to her. He never told them the truth. Instead, he lied and said the money was going toward his streaming career. During the interview, he admitted to the police that he had spent a huge amount on Sylvie. But the strange thing was how casually he talked about it, as if he didn't see anything wrong with what he had done.
Heated conversation.
It would be Thursday, because one of his rules was that I wasn't allowed to talk to the woman anymore that I had been talking to. But I guess you could say behind the scenes, my mom would let me talk to her through her cell phone using Twitter. And, she would tell me, like, look, you have to keep it just basic, because if you say anything or if you entice anything or do anything like that, it might lead her to say something to, like, my dad or something like that. Because,
How was she get in touch with him?
Because apparently when I was in Cornerstone, my dad told her, because he had, like, hacked my computer or something like that, and then he found everything.
An electronics guy like you and your brother?
Except he's more of that, like, hacking level, like, able to do all that stuff. So he had found, like, just the stuff that was related to her. And then, he erased my whole entire computer. He put a password on it. So it's like, even when I came back up until Thursday, like, I wasn't able to go onto my own computer to look at anything.
Basically, he's treating you like a small child.
Right. And rightfully so. I mean, spending that amount of money, I was acting childish. I can kind of get it. But, so yeah, anyways, on Thursday, he had apparently found out that I was speaking to her again.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came back on the 4th, my mom picked me up from the Cornerstone place. And then me and my mom met my dad at California Pizza Grill or Kitchen in Waterford Lakes.
Mm-hmm.
And he had this list front and back on a piece of paper of all the rules. This is what's going to happen. This is why I'm acting the way that I'm going to act. I'm not going to be Dad anymore. I'm going to be Chad. And I basically told him that I'm going to be present. I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to start to try and get jobs now. I told him what my plan was. It wasn't really my intention to.
This shows just how far Grant's family went to stop him from talking to the Bulgarian woman. They took serious steps to block his access, almost like they were dealing with a child, not a grown man. What's shocking is that Grant still didn't see anything wrong with what he was doing. Even after his father told him to stop, Grant kept talking to her in secret. He went behind his family's back and did it anyway.
It wasn't really my intention to continue talking to this woman, but it just kind of happened. And then because there was, like, that emotional connection, I guess you could say, between her and me, like, it felt like a relationship, I didn't want to just stop cold turkey on it. So he had apparently found out, and then
Unhappy.
right, and one of the stipulations was that he told me at the dinner was, if you speak to this woman again, you're out of the house. Like, I'm kicking you out. You can pack up your shit, and then you're off my property. And then, because of the way that he used to be, he had told me that basically if that happens, that if I ever step back onto his property, that he would kill me. So, you know, on Thursday, that all happened, and then I was in the process. I was getting all my stuff together. I was piecemealing it out to the car, and then, you know, I had an interview on Friday, so I had to get my suit out to my car. I was trying to just get all of my necessities as best as I could from, you know, a lifetime of living inside the house.
Sure.
And then my brother was working that night, and I think he was working like one of his long nights, but he ended up getting off early. And then I had met with my brother before he came home, just like in the neighborhood area. And then
Where?
it was just on the like the back side of the house, like along, I don't remember what that road's called, but it's like you take the bend where it has those two blinking lights, and then it's just down that road a ways.
Not for Christmas.
Is
Or
it
is it
before Christmas when you still turn the corner?
I think so. I'm not
Maybe.
sure. I think so.
Well, it was just down that road.
Okay.
And then I basically brought him up to speed, and he had told me that he was going to do whatever.
What time was that, you think?
God, what time was that?
What time did you go to? Let me back up a second. I apologize. You, Mom, and Dad go to California Pizza Kitchen in Waterford at what time?
Oh, that was all the way back on January 4th.
Oh, you said Thursday.
No, that wasn't Thursday.
No.
No, okay.
That was when I had come back from Cornerstone,
Gotcha.
and he was giving me the rules.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Then do Thursday then. We'll
what
check with
happened?
that.
That Thursday that you meet with Cody down the street. This is this past Thursday?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about that.
After you and your dad argue.
After me and my dad had argued, and he had told me, you know, this is how it's going to be, and, you know, all that stuff.
Okay. This is at the house this past Thursday.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Because this is what now? Saturday?
Saturday.
So,
Yeah.
past Thursday, I guess you could still say. So, then, yeah, I spoke with Cody. He told me about all that. He had given me his debit so that, because, I mean, I don't have any money, and I don't know where to go. You know, I'd never been out of the house on my own. And then the last thing that I was told was just that, you know, basically, once again, that he'll take care of it, because
This is Cody.
this is Cody.
What time is this, approximately?
I'd say a little after 10:30-ish at night,
Thursday night.
Thursday night.
Okay.
And then, yeah, so then after that, I just, like, stayed in that in the vicinity area for a number of hours, and then I had remembered over some of the nights when I would work overnight, and then I'd be able to get off early, that the Publix on 50, on Colonial, the one that's by the Tractor Supply.
419, yeah.
Yeah. That Publix, it's like their guest Wi-Fi is always still active, even when the store closes down. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go there because I have my Surface, and I can, you know, check on my emails. I had to pull up the address to my interview because I don't have GPS. So then I would, like, write all that stuff down, and then I was basically just waiting in that parking lot until I had to leave to go to the interview. And then, I mean, that was the last, because again, it's like, no cell phone service. I mean, email was literally like my only form of communication. And then, you know, yeah, I didn't have any, you know, I went to the DoubleTree because I was like, I can't just stay in my car again all night.
Right. And how did you pay for that?
I paid for it with my debit card.
With your debit card?
Yeah, because I think there was like the $400 or $300 and something still left on it.
Okay.
What time did you get there?
The DoubleTree, I think I got there at around 3 or 4 p.m.
Yesterday.
Friday. And then, yeah, and then I was just, I mean, I would, like, go up to my car so I get, like, a bottle of water or something like that, or if I'd forgotten something, you know, just, like, necessity-wise. And then I was just there the whole night.
talk to Cody, talk to Mom, talk to
No,
Dad?
I couldn't talk to anybody because I didn't have.
But you have the phone in the room.
Oh yeah, I did have the phone in the room.
But
But
call anybody from the phone room?
No, I
No call?
didn't even honestly think about it because I was like, you know, away from a place where I had lived for 25 years or
Sure,
something like that. I
sure.
had never, you know, as embarrassing as it is, I'd never been on my own.
Right.
The longest period I'd ever been away from anybody is 2 weeks when we were up in Japan. So, I mean, yeah.
But you had your brother with you, so.
Right,
So,
yeah.
So you had family
Sure.
with you.
But, yeah, I mean, so I guess I was waiting to see what would happen with this job because I was told I'd either be told Tuesday or Thursday. And then maybe I would try an outreach or something like that. Or the last time, you know, when it was like an issue where I didn't have my phone, like my brother would email me. So I was just thinking, oh, okay, well, I mean, if anything, he knows the situation, he'll just email me. So I checked my email a few times last night, and then I just inevitably was able to go to sleep.
Was it Thursday night that your dad told you that if you talked to the girl that he would kick you out, or was that the conversation on the 4th at California?
That was on the 4th.
So
And
that was
then
on the
he
4th,
just
okay.
went through with it on Thursday.
Okay.
So Thursday, you're home all day
Yes.
with your mom. 'Cause she works at home.
Correct, yes.
Your dad's at work. What's his normal work hours?
He works until, I think he had to go in early that day, because he had to start like doing overtime or something like that. And he normally works though from like 5 or 6 in the morning to, I think he gets home between like 5:30 and 6 at night or something like that.
What time do you get home that day?
He got home at like 5:30.
5:30.
5:30, 5:45, one of those two.
Okay. Were you there when he came in?
Yes.
Okay. Well, describe your dad normally come in.
When my dad normally comes in, he'll come in, he'll look into the living room, which is, like, there's the kitchen, and then there's the living room where it's got, like, the long couch and whatnot that's inside, and then there's the TV right there.
Okay.
So he'll normally come in through there, and then he'll talk, or he'll ask us questions, or he'll
Where were you at when he came in?
I was just in there. I was just watching.
In the virtual reality where you said you had that set up?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just watching.
And that's in what room?
The living room.
The living room.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just watching YouTube at that time, just
Okay.
like.
Did Dad talk to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where, because he had, I don't know how he found out, but he had apparently found out, and then
Found out what?
that I was talking to.
You were still talking
to the woman, yeah. And then he came in, and then he asked me, in a calmer state, I guess you could say, like, basically the leading question of, you know, why do you think we're about to have this conversation? Giving me, I guess, that opportunity to be honest and truthful, to maybe tone it down a little bit. I, of course, did what I always did, where I kind of didn't admit to it. And then he came out and he told me that I had been doing that.
He had proof.
Yeah.
Have an argument?
Yeah. And then, you know, he got just, he had kind of reverted back to the way that he was when we were younger, where, you know, he kind of, you know, pulled me up from the couch, and then he was yelling at me to pack my shit up and just get out of the house. That he was the one who had to be the hammer, and that, you know, why am I making him have to go through this, and all this other kind of stuff.
Okay.
So, you know, basically I had...
So he's becoming violent.
I mean,
like the way you described
right,
it when you were
right.
when you and Cody were kids.
Right.
What did he do?
Like I said, he pulled me up from the couch just by, like, the shirt that I was wearing. And then, you know, after that, he was basically just having that yelling where it was kind of like cracking. You know, like his voice would either crack or he was basically just yelling at that point and monitoring.
Where's
like,
your mom?
My mom was in her office.
Okay.
Because...
And I'm sorry to cut you off. Does mom have, like, an office hours? Like, she would get up and do her work all day, and at a certain time, I'm done doing my office work, and I'm doing my family stuff.
Not really.
Okay.
I mean,
she worked there all the time.
Right. She would... I think the major thing that she would do is she would, like, cook dinner.
Okay.
And then after that, she would go back into her office.
What time was dinner, usually, generally?
Between, like, 7. Like, I guess usually around 7. 7:30 is when we'd usually have dinner. Most nights.
Did you guys already have dinner that night?
No. I think, what was she going to make? I think she was going to make something with like chicken or something like that, stir fry or something like that, because Cody was working late, so she didn't want to make something where, because my dad would always buy meals that were for 4, so we didn't want to pull out anything where there would be leftovers or something like that. So, but she hadn't started making it yet. I think she was defrosting the chicken.
And that was about what time?
What time? I think she took those out like at 4 or something like that in the afternoon.
And at this time, the argument with Dad is at what time?
The argument with Dad is like 6:30 or so.
6:30.
Yeah.
Okay. You have your argument and you pack your stuff?
I had my argument, and then I'm packing my stuff. I'm, taking it out to the car. It took me like a couple hours to get as much as I could, just kind of out into there. And then, yeah, it's like Mom's kind of just staying out of it to a certain degree because she knows like how Dad can be. And then, yeah, I mean, and that's just pretty much where I was just kind of like waiting.
So you wait outside. Did anybody call Cody and tell him what's going on?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. And how did you know to meet Cody down the street?
It's because my mom had actually come and told me that, she was trying to bridge the gap, and then before I actually physically left, I had told my mom that, I'm going to be close, I'm going to be local, I'm just going to be like down.
Those were tough words for a father to say to his son, but maybe that was the only way he could get through to him. No matter what the family did, it didn't work. Grant kept breaking the rules, and things at home kept getting worse. Eventually, they had no choice but to kick him out of the house. Later, Grant talked about meeting his brother after he had moved out. But this is where his story starts to fall apart, and where the detectives begin to catch him in his lies.
Sorry, man. I need the bathroom.
Oh,
And I wanted to print out a picture of Fort Christmas because we're not aware. I'm not familiar with the area, so.
So we're going to go back and talk again about this because it's kind of important to me about Cody and you meeting that night.
Right.
So then that night, which was Thursday? Thursday night, you meet Cody because, and did he ever tell you why he left work early?
No. I mean, I just assumed that it was just because he had been allowed to leave early.
Been allowed to leave early. Okay.
So here's,
I think this is the blinking lights there.
So this is, to me, this is
Okay.
419 left on Lake Mills, right? Left on Fort Christmas.
Okay.
Where would you say you met Cody on Fort Christmas?
So wait, is this that other like neighborhood?
I think maybe I'm wrong. I think it comes this way is 419.
This is where
Orange
all
County
like.
side?
No, I think this is up by the hitching post. You come up, you make a right on Fort Christmas.
This is where the
and
blinking
here-
lights are.
Okay.
Yeah, because this goes into Picket Downs, right? It's right here. And then this is the circle.
Is this where you live at? Where do you live at?
If this is like the entrance to Picket Downs, then I live like.
Okay,
Okay.
so here's
So that's
there's
your house.
there's blinking lights right here, so people don't run up into his house. I think that's what there's 2 red lights.
Oh yeah, that's on the dude's fence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's those 2 yellow arrow
Okay.
blinking ones at the corner.
The corner.
So
Right.
these are blinking lights here. All right, so then where do you and Cody meet?
Like way down this road, further past on that road.
So past, does this dead end anywhere?
I don't think so. I think it
Goes
literally
into Bithlow, I think.
goes into Bithlow, and then if you keep going it, which was the way that I inevitably took it, where it'll dump you out onto 50, and then I came
Okay.
up 50 to go back to the Publix
All right,
parking
so
lot.
here are the blinking lights. How far down do you think you met? Half mile, mile?
I mean, a significant ways. I mean,
Just an approximate.
I would say it was probably over a mile.
Is this somewhere you and him have met before?
We know, where that, if you're on this road, the intersection where it's like it intersects with another road, and then it's got like a guardrail or something like that right there.
Mhm.
It was still past that area,
Okay.
but it was close to that intersection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it in the roadway, like off the
Off the
roadway, or
road.
in?
Yeah, just off.
When someone is lying and you ask them to be specific, they usually get nervous or try to move on quickly. In the clip we just saw, that's exactly what happened. Amato tried to avoid giving a clear answer about where he was and instead mentioned a location that wasn't even on the map, just to brush it off and move on.
I think that there was something that obviously happened at the house.
Tell me what happened.
I don't know what happened.
I know better. Listen to me. I know better. I can help you, Grant, with honesty. I can help you with honesty.
We think something else happened before you left the home that you're either afraid of or embarrassed to talk about. But we need to know exactly what happened because, like Danny said, we can place you there at certain times. And so we need to know what happened before you left that house because you didn't leave with everything being okay.
I honestly, I don't have anything else that I can really say. I mean, I don't know.
Do you even know why law enforcement got involved?
The detectives made it clear they didn't believe his story. They started asking their questions more directly, cutting through the small talk. But Amato kept pretending he didn't understand, still playing dumb. He had to know their patience was running out, and it was only a matter of time before the pressure got to him.
Like that. But something happened Thursday, unlike anything you've ever experienced in 29 years of your life. Never.
And maybe you felt that was rock bottom for you. You were getting kicked out of the house. Your father gave you an ultimatum. I mean, that's, you're already dealing with the debt, and, now you have to stop talking to this girl, and now you're being kicked out of the home. I mean, I can understand how you would feel. I mean, that you'd want to lash out, or, if something happened, you'd want to defend yourself.
Sure. Absolutely.
But we need to know what happened.
I mean, I can tell that you guys are, leading me into a certain way of what...
The only thing we're leading you to is wanting to get the truth from you. Not trying to make you say something that's not true, that's not accurate. The truth, the end. That's it. That's all we want is the absolute truth. Because it's got to come from you. It can't come from us. It can't come from us. Do we know what happened? Yeah, we already know what happened. But it has to still come from you, the truth. Because the parties involved, that's, in all cases, you want the truth from them. I don't want somebody to say something that's not true. Absolutely not. I want them to say, this is what happened, and here's why it happened. Because sometimes there are things that are justifiable. I'm dealing with a case right now where some people were jumped in a house, there was a shooting, and the people involved in the shooting are not going to be charged because they have the right to defend themselves. Nothing in the state or federal law says you have to be seriously physically harmed or killed. Nothing does. You have a right to defend yourself. Absolutely, you have a right to defend yourself.
You're in fear of
Sure.
you being hurt or your life.
But Grant, I just need you to come. It's there. It's there. I can see it. It's on the tip of your tongue. You want to say, let me tell you what happened. I'm being honest. I think you're being honest about 95% of the story. I truly do believe you're being honest about that. I think there's that 5% as most people, because they're afraid to actually talk to us and tell us their story. And sometimes we can help justify their story once they tell us the truth. It's a fact. It happens.
The detectives laid it all out. They told Amato the version of events they believed had really happened. And deep down, Amato knew they were onto him. He could tell they believed he was the killer. They tried to reassure him, saying he'd be protected and that he was safe with them. All they wanted was the truth, nothing more. Amato was starting to crack, and the detectives saw it. So they kept the pressure on, knowing he was close to breaking.
You got to open up. You got to open up to me, man. I'm here. Here to take that information from you, to get you over this hump, to a little peace in your mind. You'll never have peace without saying, here, let me tell you.
This is exactly what happened.
And I already know. I'll be honest with you, I already know. This isn't my first rodeo. We've been doing this, what, between the two of us, 50 years? Over 50 years.
Married.
Over 50 years. I've seen
So
it.
what is it you need
over.
to tell us that we're missing?
Step over.
I mean, the only thing that I know is just that, I mean, I left the house later than what I had said.
Did you leave the house with your brother Cody looking like that? Or did you leave the house with your father looking like that? Or your mother? Is that how you left your family?
No.
Nobody else went into that house.
Who left your family like this? If you were the one that's been depressed, you were the one that owes money, you were the one that got into a confrontation with your father, who did this to your family? If you were trying to defend yourself or something else happened, we need to know now to help you. So tell us what happened, Grant. We're here to listen to you.
Grant, you need the truth. We're here to make this right. You got to tell the truth. It's on the tip of your tongue, my man. I get that. It's
Did your
tough.
father go after you and you try to protect yourself?
No, I didn't do any of this.
There's something that's going to come up that is going to make this all come real. I'd rather it come from you than have to do it that way.
The evidence tells us what happened. You have to fill in the blanks. They can't tell me what happened.
Fact, I know. She never held a gun. She didn't have a gun that night. Fact, he never fired a gun. Fact, he never fired a gun. Never did. This is the person right here, Mom.
The detectives hit him hard with the photos, turning up the pressure as Amato began to break down. He started talking about how his father would threaten to hurt him if he messed up again or tried to come back home, trying to make it sound like he acted in self-defense. But the reports tell a different story. There were no signs of any fights happening in the house when his family died.
Okay. This is the last time before I'm going to walk out now, and then I'm done. Then I'm done for good. When I'm done, I'm done. They won't let me, hey, can I come back and talk to you? The minute I walk out that door with your story is where you stay at. That's your lot in life. I am more than willing to sit here all day and all night if you want to talk, to find the facts. But I can't. I told you from the beginning, I will not deal with somebody who's not being truthful with me. You're not being truthful. You're not telling me the truth. You've lied, and we've forgiven you over that. We've forgiven you over it. You can't lie about this, Grant. You can't. This is too important for your family of what has happened. There's not somebody out running around the United States that killed them. There's not. There's nobody out there, some hidden killer. There's not. You don't show the remorse that you should for someone who's lost 3 family members. Body language, eyes, and demeanor.
Grant was showing all the signs of someone who felt guilty. The detective told him what they believed had really happened. But instead of backing down, Grant only pushed harder with his story. The detective told him he needed to confess. There was no imaginary killer out there. It was time to face the truth.
Body language, eyes, and demeanor. Here's the time, man. I know it's tough. Tell the truth, because when I walk out, there is no another day.
And it's going to look worse for you when we prove it by the DNA, the gunpowder, the blood spatter, fingerprints. Now is the time for you to be honest with us and is exactly what happened in that house before you left.
We'll be there for weeks gathering evidence. We are going to build the case because we're going to disprove the fact that nobody else came in this house. We already know that answer. But at some point, we will build a case to the conclusion that nobody else went in.
I don't have anything else that I can say. You know, my brother even said the same thing of like, when all this financial stuff was happening, like why I couldn't show like a sadness towards it. And I just don't know. I mean, I just don't know what else to say.
Do you not feel bad for doing this to your family?
I don't know.
You don't know what? You don't know if you feel bad for doing this to your family?
I mean, I've been getting blamed for the last half a year for everything, and I've been trying to move forward into a positive direction. And then every day I'm reminded of all the trouble that I had caused. And then I keep being told the same thing over and over again, but there's nothing that I can do to change it.
Do you regret doing this to each one of your family members?
I didn't do that to each one of them.
When the detectives asked Amato if he felt bad about what happened, there was only silence. Then he said he was blamed for everything and reminded of it every single day. The reason behind it all was right there. In his mind, Amato saw himself as innocent. He felt pushed to the edge and probably thought he had no way out. His whole life, everything had been given to him. But once he was kicked out of the house, it felt like an injury he could never heal from.
I mean, I don't have anything else that I can say. You know, my brother even said the same thing of, like, when all this financial stuff was happening, like, why I couldn't show, like, sadness towards it. And, I just don't know. I mean, I just don't know what else to say.
Do you not feel bad for doing this to your family?
I don't know.
You don't know what? You don't know if you feel bad for doing this to your family?
I mean, I've been getting blamed for the last half a year for everything, and I've been trying to move forward into a positive direction. And then every day I'm reminded of all the trouble that I had caused. And then I keep being told the same thing over and over again, but there's nothing that I can do to change it.
Do you regret doing this to each one of your family members?
I didn't do that to each one of them.
Who did?
I don't
Who has such an axe to grind with your family that they shot him twice in the head, him in the head, and her? Who has it? Here, you sit in my seat for a minute. Sit in my seat. Get out of it. Here, sit right here. Come here. Sit right here. Get out of that seat. Sit right there for me. Sit on it. Look at it. Look at it from our side. Look at it from our side. Think of it from the way we look at it. Independent. What are we here for? One thing. The blindfolded ladies with justice. Justice is all we're here for. Justice. Look at it. Who has a motive? Who has a motive to hurt your family? You could say Jason, but we already know what Jason was. I can account for every bit of Jason's activity. Every bit of it. Jason gave a statement. What's the first thing we looked at? Is Jason telling the truth? Can we verify what he told us? And in quick succession, we did. He said I was XXXXS. And he went, yep, he sure was.
And we know exactly when Cody left work.
And know when Cody got home. And know when Cody stopped answering his phone. And know when bills were paid. And knows when vehicles left. And know when phones tagged hotspots. Know it all. Know every bit of it. Now it's time for you to admit to what you know. Because you're saying, I didn't do something, I don't know something. It's an easy thing to say to yourself, but you can't say it to us. Because facts and evidence don't lie. I've done everything I can do to get to the bottom and the truth. And we're not getting there. But I promise you down at some point, the facts will get there. And then you're going to ask, hey, can I talk to you and tell you what happened? And the answer is no. After we walk out of the room, like I said, it's done. There is not a second chance. There's one time to make a first impression. You heard that one before? This is it. I believe you're not a bad guy. I do. I believe you want to tell us what happened. And there's a reason this got so bad. There's a reason. That's all I'll say.
I don't have anything else that I can say. I mean, I don't have the answers
That you can say or want to say?
that I can say. I mean, I don't know. I know from sitting over here what it looks like. I mean, it's just like when I was accused of the whole grand theft thing. And then it's, you know, everything from security cameras and all this other stuff for saying this, that, and the other, but then there's nothing that showed that I had done anything wrong. And I don't know what else I can say.
So what they accused you of, you didn't do?
The grand theft thing?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Two things that happened here today. Two things. You're a guy swimming out in the middle of the ocean, and we're going to give you one of two things based on you. You can have a life preserver to keep from drowning, or you get the boat anchor. Which one do you want? Because we will give you whichever one you ask for. The life preserver, the boat anchor.
No, I want the life preserver, but I've said everything that I can.
You want it, and I believe you do, but you have not said everything you can say. Be careful of locking yourself into something, because just like this, you've locked yourself into, I was down on Fort Christmas. That's where me and Cody met, which we've proven to be a lie. We already knew that. We already knew that wasn't true. But I'm going to let you say it. I'm going to let you say what you want to about being honest in here. And at some point, we will pick that apart of why you're not honest and what physical evidence shows to be. What physical evidence shows to be. If you want to be honest, this is it. This is the time right now to be honest. You see, if I can say what you're saying, what you want to say to me right now, just like you wanted me to believe that you were down on Fort Christmas down the road with Cody, that you wanted to. That's what you wanted me to believe, and there's a reason you were being deceptive to me, because it doesn't matter where you met him and had this conversation. If you lie about something small, you lie about something big. You're being deceptive over something that doesn't matter if you met him down the road or not. There's no reason to lie about where you met him at. This is it. Your one chance in the rest of your life to be honest about this right here. You say, I've told you what I can tell you. You told me what you want me to know, just like you told me what you wanted me to know about that, and for Eva to know what you want to know about that. But it's not true. Just like you want to tell me what you want me to know about this. I get this. I get that. I don't get that. I don't get that. I don't get it. I don't. One, I get. I understand. She didn't bully you. She didn't belittle you. She didn't run you into the ground. Nor did he. I don't get it. But this is it. Because you're just about, I've kind of got a number in my mind that I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk out and we'll take our stuff and be on our way, and you're going to go the way you go. But there will be a time where you ask for that life preserver. I can't give it to you. I can't. Once I cross a line I got to step over, can't do it. Won't do it. Think about that. I want to talk to her for a minute. Think about the last life preserver I can give you. Think about it. Take a few minutes just to reflect on it, and then we'll come back to you in a couple of minutes, and then we'll go from there. And what happens is what happens. Fair enough? You all right, Grant? Okay. Need some food, some water? You good to stay for a while longer? You okay?
I mean, I just don't have anything more that I can say. I don't know what the next...
I'm not keeping you. If you want to stay, well, I'll talk to you till whatever, till you're happy with everything and you're okay. You're not detained. You're not being kept here. You're here willingly. Remember we talked about that?
Yeah.
You're still, look at me. You're still here voluntarily. I'm not detaining you. I'm not keeping you here. Like I said, if you want to walk out and take a break, catch your breath, get something to eat. If you want something to eat, I've been here for a while. If you want something to eat, I'd be more than happy to get you some food, whatever you want. We'll send somebody to go get it, or whatever you want to do. It's totally up to you. I said you're voluntarily here.
I mean, I don't know what the...
I will stay here and talk to you until you get everything off your chest as long as you want to.
The detectives stepped out of the room and asked if Amato needed anything. The interrogation was basically over. They already knew who did it. Now all they needed was his confession. They reminded him he was free to leave. Amato said he didn't want to be there but just wanted it all to be over. After a while, nothing happened. He went to change his clothes, and then his older brother showed up. The brother lived on his own and wasn't at the house when the murders happened.
Alright, so I take it you know what happened.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you plain out. You are not part of it anyway.
No.
When's the last time you saw everybody?
I left the house between midnight and 12:30.
On Thursday night? So Friday morning?
Thursday going into Friday.
Why? That's when you went to a hotel?
No. The first night I stayed just in the Publix parking lot by the Tractor Supply.
Okay.
And
why did you leave though?
it's because Dad had kicked me out Thursday because I was still talking to the woman that had caused everything, and I was using Mom's cell phone to do that with her knowledge, but not Cody or Dad's. So then Dad found out somehow, and that was one of the things that he had said would lead to my being removed from the premises.
So he forced you, he basically told you you had to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. So who could have done this?
I don't.
So you didn't have any problems or troubles with this woman or the online? You didn't owe them any money?
No,
I mean, there's no like loan shark out looking for you, or
No.
I just don't see how things aren't adding up. I'm really confused, Grant. I don't understand. How did you get money to pay for a hotel?
I still had a few $100s on my debit card, and then Cody gave me his debit card.
Okay. And
Even his own brother didn't believe him. Judging by his reaction, he was crushed. It's a heartbreaking moment, knowing that your youngest brother did the unthinkable and took away your family, yet you still don't feel hatred toward him. The family was gone, and the youngest brother who killed them would spend the rest of his life in prison. At the trial, Amato kept saying he was innocent, but he was found guilty on all 3 murder charges. At the end, he said something that stuck with everyone. "My family blamed me for months for ruining their lives and stealing, so I might as well be blamed for this too."